In this video, I hope to wrap up all the loose ends from the lesson, and that should get you enough information to do the small group activity that is the end of your packet. So you already have all that. When you do the small group activity, I want you guys really working together and try to stick together with at least one other person and go through that together. And talk about it as you go and what conclusions can you make at the end of each question. So once you've done the question, compare the results back and really try to understand as you go. The person who is running class will have the answer sheet for you to check your answers, but I want you to, so you can always go and check, but I don't want you checking until you're done. I would like you to finish and then check. You can check right before it has the extra practice at the end. Okay, so in this we're going to talk about linear transformations and linear combinations. So the difference between a transformation and a combination is dealing with multiple variables. So that might be x plus y or x plus x, okay? But it is adding or subtracting two variables, all right? A transformation is just taking one variable, one random variable, and multiplying it by a constant or adding a constant to it. And it's called linear transformations because that appears like a linear equation. Those are linear operations that I might do with one variable. Okay, so the means. The rules for the means are very straightforward and usually people don't have trouble. The mean of something that's been transformed is equal to a plus b times the mean of the original variable x. Okay, so that is, this is what I showed you in class with the adding of a constant to a variable. What would it look like then? What would the new mean be to something that had something added to it, etc. Okay, so whatever those constants are, do that with the original mean and you'll get the new mean. If I have a combination of variables, this is like our stats homework time and our calc homework time. If I'm looking at adding those together, then the mean of x plus y should equal to the mean of x plus the mean of y. And the same is true if I subtract. The mean of x minus the mean of y. So very straightforward rules for means. All right, variances. Okay, hang on one second for variances. For linear transformations, remember that the spread didn't change when I added. Adding doesn't change the spread. Only multiplying changes the spread. So variance for a plus b times x is going to equal b squared times the variance of x. Okay? What this means is, for standard deviation of a plus bx, therefore, would equal the square root of b squared, standard deviation squared, variance squared, which would just give you b times standard deviation of x. So the standard deviation gets multiplied by b when x gets multiplied by b. Okay, but this is the formula I'm going to use because I'm doing this for variance. Okay. The reason I do it for variance is because of the rule for combinations. So if I'm adding two variables together, their standard deviations do not add, but their variances do. So the variance of x plus y is equal to the variance of x plus the variance of y. The variance of x minus y and this is something that'll come out when you do your study. These, please pay attention to what it is. I'm going to actually let you discover that. It may be other than you think. So after you've done this particular one, it's the last example I think you do in your group activity, then come back and try to complete this rule, please. All right? So the next thing you're going to do is go to this activity that's in the back, and I just copied and pasted where you should now be. So you've already completed the first question, and now you should be ready to complete this where it says start with your small groups. The only thing that's going to be tricky is, let's take a look at this. We're going to roll the die twice. This is that funny-sided die with one face showing a 1 and two faces showing a 2 and so on. Let x1 plus x2 represent the sum on the two rolls. So x1 is the first roll outcome and x2 is the second roll outcome. On the first one you can get a 1, 2, or a 3, and on the second one you can get a 1, 2, or a 3, right? So the sum, all possible sums of those numbers would be 1 plus 1, 1 plus 2, 1 plus 3, 2 plus 1, 2 plus 2, 2 plus 3, etc., right? All possible sums are 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And I need you to find what the probability of each one of those is, and that's a little bit tricky. And in just a minute I'm going to look at that. But x1 plus x2, that is a sum of two variables. I don't know what either one of those outcomes are, so this is not a constant plus a variable, right? This is the sum of two different variables whose outcomes I don't know. Okay? So let's set up how you find the probability. Once you have the probabilities, finding the mean and the variance can be done on the calculator, doing the one variable stats with a frequency list, as we did in class. Ask each other, help each other out. To find the probabilities, this is what your situation is. I highly recommend that you use a tree diagram, right? So this would represent the first row, and this would represent the second row, and then you have these possible sums at the end, right? I didn't complete this for you because I think this is enough to get you going, and once you get going, talk to each other to figure it out. All right, that's it.